Back with Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, 1910 Britain campaign in 1.03. Last episode, we got a pretty interesting battle where a couple of our armored cruisers with a destroyer took on a British battleship. Got our first look at the British battleship. Ultimately successful. Our armored cruisers did get the hell beat out of them, but they managed to get the British battleship down. Several torpedo hits, and then just peppering away at it with HE, while they themselves were fairly close to sinking also. So anyway, I did have the thought though that particular encounter does kind of show the power of HE in this game, and I think people have different opinions on it, and that's fine. But my perception is that the HE seems maybe I hesitate to use a kind of an overused phrase like, "Oh, it's OP," but I don't know. I think it may be slightly better than it ought to be. And I think I've made that comment before too. In any case, I had not noticed before that battle that when we advanced into February, Germany had completed another battleship. So it's a good thing that we sank the one that we did, because they're even with that, they've maintained their level of capital ships. And they also completed constructing an armored cruiser as well. So even though we've sunk some ships, we're up in VP, we're not really knocking down the overall force structure size of the German Navy. And on hard difficulty, that's to be expected because Germany's got quite a bit of money. And of course we do too. In 1.01, one of the notes from that update, which is, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks ago now, did say, hey, we've given you a little bit more money in the later eras. Well, it looks to me like they just gave us a bunch more money in all the eras, as far as I can tell. And so whatever they were trying to do there, I think they went a little overboard, in my opinion, because I've had some campaigns, and just before that 101 patch, I had completed a 1920 Germany campaign in particular. That was posted. That was on camera, not off. Where the money got pretty tight. I was getting a little worried. And I've seen some other YouTuber series that that saw kind of the same thing. And in 101, just haven't seen that anymore. Money is kind of no object in a lot of ways. And I had gotten into this habit of zeroing the tech budget to make sure I had money for everything else. And now that little technique, which the majority of players were doing, it's not like some special little brand thing. I think everybody was doing that. But now that little technique seems a little superfluous. I still don't feel compelled to bump up the tech budget just to burn money. But on the other hand, I could. The other aspect of this, however, is we're already in the 1911. There have only been 2 real battles. We've had more encounters, but we've learned that if we happen to have a fight against the German battlecruiser, it's just going to run away. And I stubbornly persisted in trying to bring it to battle over 3 turns or 3 different battles, and finally just edited out all that non-footage and have resorted to just auto-resolving whenever I meet this thing in a 1v1 battlecruiser duel, just to damage it a little bit and kind of take it off the order of battle. So only 2 real fights, and they both turned out fine, but only 2 battles in 13 months. And I've just put some, quite a few ships, probably about, I don't know, I didn't count, but probably about 40% of the force is on sea control now to try to force more battles, but this might continue. Sometimes the AI just kind of turtles. And with the money that Germany has, we don't know the exact numbers, of course, we can't see it, but between the difficulty level and recent update economic changes, they've got plenty of money. And then there's also they tweaked AI shipbuilding program a little bit too, and they've completed a few ships even over a year into campaign. This particular ship, this BB, had to have been under construction at game start, not laid down, but some portion of the way through construction. But at some point, they're going to start laying down more ships, and this force structure may stay relatively static, and it's really going to be up to garnering VP to force a win in the campaign. At the rate, unless the rate of battle generation starts increasing, which I'm trying to do with the sea control, that could take a while. This campaign might not be, I mean, it's already over a year, and campaigns measured in months rather than years are pretty common. We're already past that. This could go on for a few years. With that in mind, and without really kind of anything better at the moment to spend money on, since I'm not going out of my way to try to blockade Germany and just building a bunch of extra ships that are never actually going to see battle, screw it. I'm gonna throw some tech in there. I'm not gonna put myself into a negative monthly balance, but this will be kind of the reserve if we get a bunch of ship sinkings and I do need to make some more ships or get a whole bunch of repairs or something. This can be kind of a buffer here. I'm not going to let the naval funds go down a whole lot. But for now, still got a much smaller surplus, but at 90%, let's research some tech. What the hell? Let's see what's close. I still think, even with a little bit longer than usual campaign, I don't know if we're going to see much of this. Like, we'll get an 11,000 ton light cruiser. I had already chosen a smaller cruiser anyway than what I had available, so this isn't particularly interesting to me. It doesn't unlock a new hull. That comes in this hull strengthening line. This is what unlocks new hulls, which 16 months away we'd get a Dreadnought 2 hull. I had already chosen to go this battlecruiser hull route. I didn't even build on the Dreadnought 1 hull, so I'm not just hopping up and down about needing that. This is kind of a nice passive one. Any, starting 4 months from now, any new ship we do build will take slightly no, this may only apply to new designs. It may or may not. That's actually a good question. Does this system mean... Okay, so we unlock minus 5% construction time. Does that apply to any ship I build? Even of an existing class? Or would that only apply to new designs created afterward? I don't know the answer to that. Usually these things only apply to new designs. That one is a little bit more ambiguous, though. What else is close? 9 months, we get Cordite 2, which to my eye is just a only slightly less volatile version of Cordite 1. So, I think I would still, or would I? Yeah, I think I would still stick with the white powder in a new design. Gun layout, over a year away. 5 large centerline turrets. I typically wouldn't design a ship that way anyway. So that's not lighting my candle. Mark III 2-inch guns. I have a hard time seeing myself making a new design just to take advantage of that. Advanced submarine warfare. Okay, not in game yet. In the future, that may be a really good one. Today, it's irrelevant. So I don't see anything coming real close that would make me think, yeah, once that unlocks, we'll kind of make a modified design. Nothing's jumping out at me, but I don't know what else to spend the money on, really. For this campaign. I mean, in other campaigns, I'd be like, sure, let's build 1 billion more ships and just blockade them, which is what I would normally do. But anyway, enough of me jibber-jabbering about various things. On to March. Let's see if we can actually fight a battle here. There's that 11,000-ton light cruiser that I'm not interested in building. And Germany lost 2 more transports. That's good. I'm 99% sure no, but let's just double check and make sure that didn't unlock. No. Yeah, same holes. Just, I can build a semi-armored cruiser, which I didn't want to do anyway with its 38 hull form. I can just build it to 11,000 instead of 10 now. And you get that tech, and that doesn't mean you can build any light cruiser to 10,000 tons. You still need the hull for it too, and the shipyard capacity, which scales. I've got 27,500 tons of shipyard capacity right now. That doesn't mean that I can, and let's, well, here's a good example here. I can build a 15,500 ton Armored Cruiser 5 hull, except I can't, even though I've got the hull for it, and I've got over 20,000 ton shipyard capacity, but the max I can do for a heavy cruiser, it kind of scales, right? That's 20,000. That's 27,500 tons that I could build a battleship with, and maybe a battle cruiser. But for cruisers and destroyers, it scales down on you. So I would need more shipyard capacity to fully use this 15,500 ton armored cruiser. And that could also be limited by the tech too. So all I'm trying to say is there's more than one wicket that needs to be met to max out available tonnage on a given hull. That's all I was trying to say there. Still no battles. On to April. There we go. Ooh. Okay, now this is one of those things with 1.03 that we've been waiting to see. This is a port strike mission. I've never seen one of these before, actually, where we've got just a whole buttload against a token defense. Lopsided. And we sink these ships, and then we will ostensibly damage Emden in some way. And damage them how? I don't know what attributes a port has in this game other than port capacity. I don't know what Emden's port capacity was. I wasn't mousing over to look at them all. But even if it is reduced, it looks like you can just kind of fill up ships anyway. Although I don't think the AI does that. So maybe there would be some small benefit to it. Anywho, let's dispose of these couple cruisers here. It's a pretty big bombardment. Now, what would be really cool is if then you got to actually do some shore bombardment. It'd be kind of neat. This could actually be a problem because undoubtedly they're just going to run away. And if that happens, wait, let me get everybody sorted here before they start doing dumb stuff. First, let's turn off all our torpedoes. We're probably more likely to shoot ourselves than if AI just throwing fish out willy-nilly. Let's not do that. What is this? I got the 3. I don't want them scouting. They're just going to run into other people probably. Yeah, they were already angling in. You come back over this way just to stay out of the way. Keep going ahead. You're probably going to be the first ones to spot because I'm sure these cruisers are running for their lives. We'll catch the light cruiser though. Should. And smoke in the east. Yeah, we're pointed in basically the right direction. Okay. Everyone else is in an independently steaming battle line. For some reason, Trafalgar is not following Hercules and is about to ram right into Okay, now if I pop Trafalgar back into division with Hercules, now will you behave? No. The hell? I think both of these ships are kind of messed up by anti-collision behavior, which is somehow turned into collision-seeking behavior. Okay. Fine. Alright. Trafalgar. Hard right. Niobe. hard left. After I detach you, which I thought I did. There we go. All right. Let them straighten up, and then hopefully they behave if I put them back in their divisions. No, it made the Trafalgar the freaking lead. Well, this is irritating. Having to fiddle around with stuff I just don't feel like I should have to fiddle around with. And Hercules isn't turning either. Right. Okay, so Hercules detach and Hercules follow Trafalgar. Likewise, Niobe. Detach. No, don't rejoin. That's not what I meant. Follow. We'll just slow to cruise speed. Warrior do the same. Well, this division's having problems too. Terrible and Minotaur had gone off on a tangent. They're kind of behaving though. Oh, okay, contact made. Okay, they're not taking fire just yet, so I'm going to leave the destroyers. I'm not going to smoke quite yet. It's probably the light cruiser. It's the slower of the two. Alright, Warren's starting to take some fire. Let's go ahead and smoke up. That's enough of a course correction. Is that thing going to cause problems for I don't want to sit back here and watch that torpedo all the way through. Let's just turn Narcissus this way. It may wind up causing problems later. I'm hoping I can get Warren kind of ahead of her beam. If I shoot right now, we're going to have a geometry like this. She'll be able to turn pretty easily. Shit. And of course, Warren falls out of line. Of course, right at the right moment. The damage kind of included a ready-made torpedo avoidance thing, and Vivian is not responding. I'm going to pop A on real... Did that do it? Yeah, okay. Popping AI on and off real quick cleared that. Alright, screw it, you're close enough. Fish! Right. Moresby. Off. Save that for the other cruiser if we see it. Which I'm a little concerned we're not going to see it. But now that we've sunk a ship, even if we never see the armored cruiser, which is possible, why are these ships going non-responsive all of a sudden? Someone commented in a recent episode asking about this, and I had never really seen it quite like this before, and it looks like I'm experiencing the same thing. Maybe this is kind of a new bug. Came with 103. Let's see, smoke. So if we're going to find this thing, it's over here somewhere. The destroyers are really the only ones fast enough to catch sight of that thing. Which only one destroyer is really. Well, Vivian's back up to speed. Yeah. AI says more over this way. Oh, and these guys are about to, and they won't respond. Ugh. I don't know what the hell this guy's doing. And because of that uncommanded turn there, now the CAs have caught up to the destroyers. Wind and waves are good, but we've got some cloudy weather. Spotting ranges should still be fine. I spotted that light cruiser at a decent distance. So we're making 33 knots. Should give us about a 4, assuming that our target is making its full speed. That gives us about a 4 knot closure rate. And of course it's been running at full speed probably since the beginning of the battle. It could have gained quite a bit of ground. Oh, yeah. I didn't drop the speed on this Niobe. That's why it's fishtailing. This one doesn't have anything to do with torpedo avoidance, like we saw before. Southeast. Well, now Vivian is snaking back and forth. Shouldn't. Well, she was falling back into position. Alright. So it'll be a victory, but I wonder if we need to sink all the enemy ships in order to get that port damage afterward. I guess I should have trusted the AI earlier and cut further to the right. Lead ship at 19 and 20. Okay. Okay, so Warrior is commanded to go down to 20 knots, taking her sweet time in doing so. I know this class has the low engine efficiency. Seems like that shouldn't hurt them in slowing down. And meanwhile, Niobe, same thing, ordered down to 19. She's still zipping around at... Well, that doesn't look... I know it's at 10 speed. Okay, so X30 speed has become available now. This ship is a long way off. I'm going to go ahead and end this battle. I don't know why Niobe isn't slowing down. I'm seeing things occurring here I just haven't seen before. Maybe I've been lucky. Maybe there's a new bug, but I don't know. Anyway, victory. 450 points for the light cruiser. Okay. So let's see. About this port damage. Port damage to Emden, 35,568. I presume that must be 35,000 less port capacity than they had before. And they've lost more transports again this turn as well. That's a good outcome. I assume that's what that number means. Just as a reference, there aren't that many German ports. Well, when I go off camera, I'm going to write down the current capacities of all of the German ports so that next time we get one of these, we can compare to confirm that's what's happening. It would take a lot of port strike missions, pretty well spread across all their ports, for that to start having a real effect. But conceivably, if you got a bunch of port strike missions spread across enough of their ports, that could conceivably put them in a position where they cannot build any more ships because they simply don't have the capacity for it, I guess. It would take a lot of those, though. And that's against Germany, which really only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 ports. I mean, Helgoland doesn't really count, right? And if you're the German player, man, you would have to knock down. I mean, some of the British ones are fairly small too. Like Yarmouth isn't very big. Apparently, I have ships in Yarmouth that have returned there. after that battle. But it would, there's really big ports down here. Portsmouth 300K, Plymouth 300K, almost 400K. Rothes is quite large, and Scapa Flow is, I think, the biggest at over 400. So it would be even, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, like 5 big ports for Britain. Quite a bit of capacity in its smaller ports. But not that many on the North Sea. If you got a bunch of port strike missions against just Sunderland, Rosyth, Scapa Flow, which in the German case you wouldn't want them spread out across a bunch. You would want them kind of concentrated, hopefully, on these 3 ports. And in this case, it's not about reducing Britain's ability to build ships. That would be pretty hard to do with all these ports. But you could potentially keep the AI from, reduce the number of ships that they can have on the North Sea area, which could have an impact on the transport sinkings. Anyway, just my thoughts on that. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a cool mechanic. It wasn't there before. Is it a game changer? Doesn't look like it. Not unless you fought a really long campaign with a lot of those port strike missions. And yeah, we'll see. Now, in the eventually longer campaign over multiple years, or over multiple decades rather, the cumulative effect of port strike missions over multiple wars against different countries, that could, over the course of decades, that could have a pretty interesting effect, even if they don't occur a whole lot in any specific war. Yeah. All right, enough of that. We'll press on in the next episode. Thank you for watching.